Now I'm unmuted. Welcome to the new setup. We'll see how this works over time. It's definitely not finalized yet. I have some details to change, but the big reason for it, I don't really like to change my setup that often, but I just felt like I was doing more and more, like you'll see in the video coming out for members tomorrow and everybody on Saturday. I had a whole setup where I was doing a top-down shot, like looking down right alongside one where I was looking into the camera and filming those both at the same time. And it could be I'm trying to show something on my phone or a product or whatever. And so, it's just one of those situations where I didn't really have a good place to do that. I had ways to do a top-down shot, and I had ways to do talking to the camera, but not both at the same time. And that can really save a lot of time. And so I didn't really actually get a ton of new stuff to do this setup. The big thing I got was this auto pull from Manfrotto. So that's like a fancy shower curtain rod that goes across the top of my studio and allows me to hang lights and stuff. And there's a smart home component to this new setup too, which I have like an FP2, which you can't see, that's just off camera here. And I'll be automating some stuff. Of course, all the studio lights are on smart plugs. So I'll be talking about some of the smart home automation side of it as maybe it would pertain to you, even if you're not running a YouTube studio in your home, just some fun ideas for automating and ways to use presence sensors and stuff like that. But, this is the new setup. It also is like, it's not changing tons of stuff. My desk is still in the same place. A lot of stuff is in the same place. Just the camera's moved. Where I'm filming is moved. Welcome to the new setup. It's still, as I said, not final, but we're getting there. I literally just moved that picture like minutes before the stream. So going to say hi to some folks in the chat over here. Greetings from Nippy, the Nippy South. I'm sorry to hear that, Saul. Yeah, it's really cold here right now. My watch says it's 1 degree Fahrenheit. So, let me convert that to Celsius for those of you. That's minus 17.2 Celsius. So it's, on the colder side, not the coldest ever, but definitely cold here. So I can relate. And we have all this snow, and my kids love the snow. And I love that because I love that my kids love the snow, right? But as an adult, snow just gets in your way of life. You can't drive as aggressively. You have to shovel or clear the snow somehow, one way or another. Like there's all the salt everywhere. And then like all the sidewalks get just really slushy and it's not fun, but whatever. It does look nice in certain places when all the trees get, the white snow on them. Hello from Ontario, Canada. Another place where I'm sure you see plenty of snow. And Canton, Georgia. Jeff, good to have you here. And same as Will and Saul. John, another regular. Texas. All right. Low of 40. Yeah, sub-zero Michigan. We've been below zero a few times in the past 24 hours too. So, it's fun. Hello, Christian. Good evening from Virginia. Yes, great to have you here, Juan. All right. Yeah, got some great folks. Hot summer in Brazil. I have I've had this mic for a long time. You're just seeing it from a different angle. This is the SM7B. I've used this for a while. There is I do plan to do some YouTube videos where I mic it from other places and not just use the podcast mic. But for live streams, I feel like a podcast mic kind of fits. It's kind of nice way to just feel like we're just hanging out and talking. And we got a lot of stuff to talk about, by the way, tonight too. Considering that it's December and you wouldn't think there'd be a lot of news, but there is. Yes, good question. And oh yeah, minus 14 degrees Celsius there for Will. Similar boat for me. Low of 58 now. Oh, Carl, we're all jealous. That sounds great. Yes. Okay. Nice. You got your shorts on still, Saul. Okay. So, yeah, and hopefully we don't lose internet or anything else here in the stream. But we had a big departure at Apple, which we'll talk about in just a second. But first, I want to bring up. Oh, and by the way, YouTube has been trying to get me to turn on monetization for these streams when they're live, meaning that you might see some ads around the side if you're not a YouTube Premium subscriber. I know in the past when I've turned on monetization, it means people like have to see an ad when they rejoin the stream, or other times it'll randomly stop the stream and show an ad. Hopefully I got the settings right so you don't see any of that, but please, if you are just getting an overwhelming amount of ads for some reason on this stream, just let me know in the chat. Just trying to dial in those settings so it's best for everybody involved, because of course YouTube likes to promote things that make them money too. So and give this stream a like if you like it. But yeah, we got so whoops, zooming it way in here. Aqara. This is from the Ambient, great smart home publication. They have this announcement that Aqara is now adding to their S1 Plus. They're adding Siri support. So if you're familiar, Apple has the new way to put, not new anymore, but they have a program to put Siri into third-party devices. So let me get this to reader view so we don't have to see all these ads. So Aqara's S1 is one of their smart displays. It's only available in Europe. I saw this earlier this week and thought, oh my goodness, did Aqara just launch the S1 Plus in the US? And I was freaking out like, oh, let's get one of these, play with it and make videos. But no, they have not released this in the US. But I think it's great that they're shipping it with Siri built in. It ships in Europe. And Aqara did say at CES this past year, in January, or this year, that they do plan to ship their smart displays in the US, but I haven't really seen much of anything yet from that. Aqara shipped a lot of products this year, but no smart displays. But I just wanted to call that out, that now their S1 Plus, if you do live somewhere outside the US where you can get this, it does come with Siri built in, which would be a really cool way to have a smart display where you get control of your car devices here and any other Matter devices you want to bridge into your, let's say, your M3 hub. You can control here, but then you can also talk to Siri. Now, I'm sorry, I should just stop saying that word so I don't trigger people's devices. Anyways, so you can talk to Apple's voice assistant that way. And the one thing to keep in mind, though, if you do happen to, let's say, go to Europe and want to get one of these, I don't think you could really easily bring it back. It is intended in the European market for European wall box standards. So don't plan on bringing it back to the States, but hopefully we'll get a US version of this soon. Yeah, I'd love to hear if any of you guys have played with these displays or not. Another thing that I thought is interesting and kind of sad is, and I think in certain ways smart home related, and that's that Netflix is killing their ability in the app to cast to most modern TVs. So this is, for me, a lot of times how I end up watching TV when I'm by myself, especially if I'm watching YouTube. I like to, so just given that I have this channel and everything, and I don't know, I don't like being signed into my Google account with YouTube on TVs that anybody in the home could just pick up a remote and use. So especially because with children, I like them to use their YouTube accounts, which are filtered with YouTube Kids content, of course, age-appropriate content. And I don't want them stumbling into something that I don't want them to see. So, I mean, not that there's really anything all that bad, so to speak, on YouTube, right? It's still pretty clean overall, but I'm just getting at that, like, and obviously what I watch is pretty clean, but sometimes what you want kids to see is not always the same. So because of that, if I want to watch YouTube on my TV, which is nice, I end up casting to the TV using the Chromecast option inside of the YouTube app, or mirroring my screen of whatever Apple device to in my Apple TV and then playing it there. So Netflix, I tend to just watch with the Apple TV app, but I think there's probably a handful of cases where it'd be nice to cast. I know a lot of hotel rooms have Chromecast or even AirPlay sometimes now built into the TVs in a hotel room. And so that's another use case where it's really nice to cast, not have to sign into your Netflix account on the hotel TV or whatever. So yeah, it's a bummer that they're doing this, but they as this article mentioned, that they don't have support for AirPlay right now. But Chromecast is now going away for them too. So bummer. And I'd love to hear in the chat, do you guys use any kind of Chromecast or AirPlay from your devices, or tend to just use either an Apple TV or the apps on your TV? What's your usual preference for watching YouTube, Netflix, whatever other services? Oh, yes. I noticed this on Shane's live stream too, Brian. I don't see a setting, but maybe I'm missing something. So I've not been able to figure this out, but yeah, we'll see. I don't think more options. Yeah, no, I don't see a way to do this. So I think we're stuck with the usernames for the time being. It is what it is. Yes. Question from Brian. I recently got the Aqara doorbell, guessing the G410 or G400. That's great. I'm debating getting one of their door locks, or I'm really intrigued by the Thorbolt. Can you recommend one? So if you have the Aqara G410, I mentioned this, I think, in my review of the G410. I think the Aqara U50 lock, right? I believe that's what I'm talking about. Let me pull this up here. Yeah, so the Aqara U50 is a smart lock where then you're kind of taking advantage of, let's say, the fact that you would have a Aqara bridge in your home. And so you're saving a little bit of money with the wireless connectivity. And so I think the U50 is a really good deal if you have the Aqara G410 doorbell. And then you can use it with an Aqara bridge hub, which could be your doorbell, in fact. So I would go with that if you have the G410. If you have the G400, I would maybe look at the Thorbolt. You could also look at the Aqara U100 or the Aqara U200. So one thing to consider there, and then another option too with that is I actually need to post about this deal on the Nuki lock. Has a sale right now. Still, it's I think 15% off. But the U200 and the Nuki Bolt, which I've reviewed, I have not actually done a review of the U200, but it's a similar concept. Although the U200 does support HomeKey, which is a nice benefit there. Those just replace the inside of the deadbolt, so you do not need to go buy an additional, not buy, but you don't need to change out your keys. You can keep your existing keys to your home, which could be a really nice benefit. So, just something to consider of thinking about like a retrofit lock might be a good option. Of course, one other lock to consider is the new B50. Now, I have not played with this from Aqara. Aqara's been making a bunch of press about this in the US because it is now available at Lowe's and I think a bunch of other retailers. And I like locks with like a hardware keypad like this because they wake up right away. So the first key press registers usually, I'm guessing with how this works. And it does work with Apple Home via an Aqara bridge. So if you have the G410 or something, it's kind of like the U50 and a little bit different tech, but similar idea where it's then tying into your Aqara system with your bridge. So the B50 could be another one to look at, especially if you can find a deal on it at a nearby retailer. So based on the locks I tried, I'd either look at the U50 or the U200, or then also looking at the B50. If you, but just keep in mind, of course, with something like the B50 or the U50, you're going to be replacing the entire lock, which usually I think it's fine. It is what it is, right? And you can rekey the inside of some of these locks, and so that there is a possibility to sort of make your lock fit existing keys. But that's the beauty of a retrofit lock, is you don't have to worry about it. So different things to consider, but those are. I feel like I'm not really giving you a recommendation. I'm just telling you a bunch of information. I would go with probably the U50 or the U200 or something like, that's also not clear. The Nuki, I really liked, if you're going to go retrofit deadbolt and you like that idea, the Nuki bolt was really good, I think, too. Just a beautiful lock, beautiful design. But also a little bit more expensive. So, but speaking of design, we had a big departure this week. Alan Dye, who was the head of Apple interface design, or I think, what was his exact title? But he's being replaced by Steve LeMay, who has been a longtime Apple design veteran from, what I've heard. And it doesn't sound like Alan Dye was forced out. It sounds like he left on his own accord to go to work at Meta. Design is something that everybody has a preference about, but personally, I wasn't usually a big fan of a lot of the things Alan Dye did, or at least oversaw in his role as a management, role in management. So, it's, I think it's a tricky scenario, and I don't want to get too much into like the Apple side of things that I think can sometimes just get kind of boring, but I think this is a move for the better for a lot of different little details about UI that can get better and cleaner over time. I've seen plenty of funny jokes, people maybe not being so kind to Alan Dye as he's on his way out. Some of that's kind of mean, and some of it's also kind of funny. But yeah, I'm excited for the future with Steve LeMay running things. I don't know much about him in particular, but from people who watch this space much more closely than I do around user interface design, it seems like he's a good pick. Some of the things, if you're wondering who is Alan Dye, what is he, what does this have to do with the stuff we talk about in this channel? So he was a big proponent, I think, behind the drive to do liquid glass. And you probably saw him if you watched the developer keynote earlier this year. He introduced liquid glass. And one of the philosophies that's mentioned in some of the liquid glass developer videos that I think he was kind of an advocate for is what some people use a derogatory term of just called junk drawer design, but basically meaning like you have a bunch of functionality, or, instead of spreading it around the screen, just put it all in some kind of menu. and then you can tap that menu and open it and then see a bunch of functions and then close it. And so you always go to that menu when you want to perform an action. Whereas I think a lot of other people would prefer to have certain buttons surfaced different places in the screen where they can quickly get to them instead of having to go under a sub menu or additional taps multiple times to get to what you want. So, but you could argue that makes the screen look more daunting and more cluttered depending on your viewpoint. So I can see the argument, but I don't agree with that philosophy of put everything inside of a menu. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with some of Apple's UI, how it evolves over time. I don't think this is going to change much, even that we see next year at WWDC. I think this is a bigger, like this kind of a change impacts things in probably 2027, 2028, more than 2026. So question, anyone have issues with the G410 doorbell? Mine is really laggy. Interesting. Back to that previous discussion. Will, I have not seen this, but I also haven't been using the G410 recently. I've been actually, surprise, I've actually I've gone back to the Logitech Circle View doorbell just to play with that and see some different details about how that works. But yeah, I used the G410 for, I want to say about a month or so or more, and I never had any issues with that. You might check the wireless signal you're getting to your little bridge box, although that's actually, that I'm thinking about the G400. That's how that connects to the smart home. I think that the signal goes straight to your doorbell for the G410. You might also look at just the Wi-Fi signal out by your door, just see if anything's happened there, maybe some increased interference, something, or something else with your network settings. But yeah, I've also noticed a bunch of bugs just in general with like little things with HomeKit in 26.1 and related releases. I'm hoping 26.2 fixes some of them. So none of the detailed specific reports of what I've been seeing are coming to mind, but I've hit a bunch of little problems. So maybe it's something in the iOS side of 26.1, but that's a bummer. And we have some more questions to get to, but one thing just to tell you guys like a story too about, I know we've talked kind of a recurring topic is my iPhone Air. And one of the things been annoying me about my Apple Smart Home 2 with this is, so I have, my iPhone Air microphone is broken. So I try and like mash down on the side button to talk to the voice assistant and it doesn't work. And if I record a video, you can hear the microphone extremely muffled. So, we'll see. I have a Genius Bar appointment tomorrow. We'll see how that goes. Just sorting out the details of my microphone on my iPhone Air. I still really like the iPhone Air. I think it gets a bad rap as a phone. I'm actually though going to I'm going to try putting a case on it just because I like the idea of having like kickstand to prop it up, but it's still going to be a very light, small, minimal phone. So we'll see how that works. But not having a mic was very interesting because like today I was thinking of, today was really like the nail of like realizing, yes, this really is broken because I tried to record a Instagram story for you guys to tell you about, hey, we got a live stream tonight. This was like at lunch. I posted like, hey, we're going to have a live stream and I was going to quickly record a story. And then I go to record the story and then I go to add subtitles and Instagram's like, you have no spoken audio to add subtitles for this. So then that's what happened. So then I realized, oh yeah, this microphone actually is broken and I need to get a Genius Bar appointment. So doing that, we'll see how it goes. But I am spoiled. I have a lot of Apple stores near me. So, and it's nice now you can go to a Best Buy. I've also heard good things about express replacement. If you have issues with your iPhone and you have Apple Care, they'll like ship you a new one for a fee. And so then you don't have to bother going into a store and then you like send back your old one. Could be something to keep in mind if you have issues with your iPhone and you have Apple Care. So another question from Brian. Having an issue with one of my HomePod minis. I'm guessing it's not a HP printer mini. When I say turn off the kitchen lights, it responds, it can't find that in my home. But if I say turn off the kitchen, it works fine. That is interesting. You know, that's one of the bugs that I have. My HomePod mini got in a weird state where the one that we have in the kitchen, I would talk to it and it would just ask it very smart home commands, and other people in my home too. And it would just respond with pause in the basement. Like it wanted me to pause the audio in the basement, which wasn't playing any audio. And somehow I just got kind of frozen in that state. I have not seen this because I have asked various HomePods to quite literally turn off the kitchen lights, and it has worked fine for me. So that's weird. But hopefully that gets sorted out. Love to hear in the chat if anybody else has had issues with that. And then any HomePod minis work as okay. Restarted the HomePod mini. Yeah. Cause that's what's fixed my pause in the living room or pause in the basement. No particular ideas there. Yeah, so FP300 positioning from Saul, good question. I would say, so Aqara recommends it needs to be at least, I say in the video the exact number, I think it's 6.5 feet off the ground. And so you want it to be up. And then I think the other part of it is if you consider the sort of the field of view of the sensor, how is it going to detect, how's it going to detect when you're actually in front of it, but also then not get false triggers by walking past the room? Let's say you're trying to use it to automate a particular room with a door. You want to aim it so that it's really focused on what's inside the room and wouldn't necessarily get a bad signal. Like, for example, with this room here, although this is an FP2, but similar idea. Now, I haven't really done all the calibration and setting this up and setting up all the automations yet, but the reason I put it where I did is I put it up there, just, facing this way in the room so that if you're at the door, which is behind me, and you walk in, then it will pick you up by going to the side. But I didn't put it on this wall, for example, because that would mean that then if this door behind me was open, which it tends to be during the day, especially if I have like the 3D printer running or something like that, then if someone walks by to go to the utility room or the laundry room or something, that might trigger this sensor because they're standing to the side of it, but just outside the door. And so I think if you can put it sort of on the same wall as the door, that's probably going to be a good rule of thumb. And then again, keeping it up, it's Aqara's guidance there, I think makes sense. And I think this also all remains true for other millimeter wave sensors. Of course, we now have the Maris one. LaFair is another company that's that makes them as well. I have one of those that I am also playing with. So yeah, just on the same wall as the door, I think or the entry to a particular room could be a good thing to consider. If you have like an open floor plan, then you might consider looking at something like an FP2 instead, or playing with the sensitivity on the FP300 so that then it's not being so sensitive for things farther away from the sensor, where maybe you're walking past that area of where the living room is in an open floor plan or something, and then triggering lights you don't want it to trigger. So I have a bunch of other stuff related to presence sensors that I'm playing with coming up, and sort of automating lights around that whole topic. I think there'll be some things around that at CES as well that I think it'll be fun to talk about. Not necessarily, saying that sounds like I know about some new product that's coming at CES, and that's not what I'm saying, because that's not, I don't know of anything like that right now. But yeah, it's it's a fun topic, and something I'm going to be talking more about in different ways. And a good question, Saul. What was I going to say about something around, I'll think of it again. We had I love, by the way, YouTube did these recaps now where you can see a recap of like the channels you watch and stuff like that. And I found that really interesting and love to hear if you guys like that, don't like that. I think those are kind of fun things. I might end up sharing mine. The challenge is, like, I have a few different YouTube accounts that I watch things on YouTube for different reasons. Of course, keeping up with smart home tech channels, and then like my personal account where I just watch like some smart home tech, but some other stuff. So it's not like a clean set of data for me of like, here's everything you watched with YouTube. But yeah, I think it's great. It's kind of inspired by Spotify. And then Apple Music has tried to do that. Although, of course, don't get me started on how children's music just ruins the whole experience of those music recaps for Apple Music. Mine are comical, and maybe at some point soon I'll get the latest version of that from Apple Music, and I can share that, and it'll just be silly stuff that doesn't make any sense. But yeah, those are those recaps. All right. I think we've covered a lot of the things I wanted to get to. We talked about my new space, answered some questions. So we got some more good questions in the chat. Let's get to some of these. Okay, and Carl did go back to the Logitech, because I know I talked to you, Carl, in the comments, I think via email as well. Logitech doorbell from the G410. Interesting. Oh no, location not being registered in the home app. I've not seen that, Robert, but if anybody else has any thoughts there on what Robert could do, I would maybe suggest restarting the phone and restarting the primary home hub in your home. But again, that's kind of Captain Obvious things you might have already tried, but still things worthwhile. Yeah, it's a good question. I don't know where Aqara's Panel Hub S1 US version is. I want that too. So I really hope they ship it soon. Okay, and you have he's also had issues with HomePod Minis. Okay. Yeah, and that's been the annoying part about my microphone being broken on my iPhone Airs, because before I really realized that it was my microphone, like earlier today, I would just mash down on the side button, talk to my phone to try and do whatever it is, and then it would not hear me at all. And then it was like, great, now here's another thing that's broken, but it's not Apple Home. That's just a hardware issue on my phone. All right. Thank you, Water Bottle 365. Yes. All is well. Oh man, we still haven't decorated our tree. I see like Shane and some others posting just beautiful reels of stuff they've done with their tree. I do have some kind of holiday Christmas themed reels and videos that I've been I filmed some stuff for that'll hopefully get out soon, but I was kind of hoping, I'll get around to getting the tree finished, and then that'll be a nice thing to have in the video, but still haven't gotten to that yet. Yeah, we don't really have like a super impressive tree, although I feel like now, given that I'm doing more and more smart home tech videos, I should have like this beautiful, amazing tree in my home with crazy lights, but not right now, at least not yet. So So that's a good question, John. Aqara sent me the M200. I have not upgraded my M2 to the M200 yet, but yeah, just I think it's notable, but I don't think Aqara's made no signs that they're like deprecating the M2. I think they'll probably still support the M2 on for a while. So, and if you're watching this stream and you're into like sort of more advanced smart home tech, I would say you might want to consider the M3 as opposed to the M200. If you're thinking about, you have family members and you want like kind of a brain dead smart home setup for someone else, then maybe the M200. Or if you're really confident you're never going to do really any automations with a car system, then maybe M200. I just think if the price delta isn't that big for you, then jumping to the M3 might be good to just have that extra capacity of devices and extra ability to run edge automations, where that's another difference between the M3 and the M200 is that the M3 can run automations locally in your home and sort of be the main hub of your home that then has fallback to other hubs and some other sort of advanced features that Aqara just continues to build on. So what I'm getting at is it'd be a shame if, as an advanced smart home user, you bought the M200 and then Aqara comes out with some new features in 2026 that you're like, oh man, I wish I had the M3, not the M200, because XYZ feature I want to take advantage of, Aqara's Automation Studio that they talked about at IFA or something else. So thank you, Saul. That's it's an honor. I'm glad you enjoy the content. So yes, good question, John. It seems to be rolling out to people gradually. So you might not have your recap yet. I don't know if it's like a thing where Google batch processes the data or what, but you can go into your settings, the settings tab, and then you should be able to see it. So let me see if I can show this. And that actually, pulling up YouTube reminds me of another big news item I just forgot about, but we should really talk about too. But if you go to the tab here, you'll see I have my 2025 recap right there on the top screen. So it just is like this banner, and I could close it and I can tap it and see my recap. So just something to check out and see. And I got like a notification. It gives you like this thing of like, hey, your recap is here. And it basically looks like a bunch of Instagram stories as you go through it. But today, Unify, I think it was today, announced a big new thing for cell access for your home, and it's the Unify 5G Max. So I think the audience of this is pretty small. The challenge here is that Ubiquiti doesn't really make it clear how you go buy one of these SIM cards. You can buy data-only SIM cards for these kinds of devices or eSIMs, but they can be pretty expensive pretty fast and have some pretty aggressive data caps on it, especially when in the terms of like your home network or office network and the data you might push through that. So I think this is, starting price of $400 plus probably $100 a month planned by the time you're done with it all, or at least $50 or $60 a month. And but a cool feature to highlight for Ubiquiti users, if you're considering Ubiquiti, and this is true whether you buy this Unify 5G Max or not, is you can actually on Ubiquiti's systems, like their gateways, you can have multiple network connections to the internet, and then one can be as a failover. So you can say use both the connections at the same time, or you can say, I want this connection to be my main connection. And then if that fails, fail over to this secondary connection. So you could have something like a cell backup, and that way you wouldn't go offline, keeping, critical stuff on there. But got some great regulars here. John, good to see you here. Hey, nice to have you. Lone Star Trent also here. Oh, yeah. And back to the car stuff. Yes, they do have their PoE doorbell coming, and good to hear you're loving your M3 hub. Cool. Yeah, I mean, as I'm going to mention this in the video that's coming out tomorrow for members and Saturday for everybody. The M3 hub was a little rough for me at first. I was not really into it. And over time, I think Aqara's software updates have made it more stable for me and better. It's also been a case where like it's been better and then gotten worse and then gotten better again. So I think, just their software updates have been smushing out as bugs over time, but it's overall a pretty good hub. I still, man, my M2 hub is rock solid. So at some point I'll try out the M200 and let you guys know about that. Yep. I am working on Homey Pro stuff. I actually talk about Homey Pro in my video, this coming out soon. So coming out in the next couple of days. So, yeah, I am working on like a dedicated bigger video on Homey Pro as well. I've been like playing around with that idea and rewriting that video like a bunch of times. But it is coming. I think it's a really cool platform. I actually think the Homey Pro Mini is the real one to consider. I think it's a better price for feature ratio because you really get most everything you get in the Homey Pro, but you just get in a smaller, cheaper package. And it comes with like things like Ethernet built in, which the bigger hub does not. So yeah, I think Homey Pro Mini is the way to go, but both have a lot of the same functionality. Oh yeah, smart home tech was your number one interest. Nice, John. That makes sense. Okay, cool. Yeah, it did pop up for me on opening the YouTube app on my phone. So maybe if you're not a big YouTube on your phone user, that could be a place to try to see if you get it. Oh, yeah, I mentioned this earlier, John. I have like a few different YouTube accounts where I watch YouTube, and I just I don't know. I feel weird about sharing. Well, actually, I don't know. I have nothing to hide. This is sort of one of my accounts. So let's see my recap. Let's do this. All right. So here's my recap. I don't know if you can still hear me with all the background noise. 3D printing, backpack reviews, understanding AI, train travel adventures, mobile tech upgrades, smart home, of course. Smart home technology is my number one interest. Formula One racing, number 3. Let's see what else. Yep. See probably some familiar faces there with the channels. Kim Illman is my top channel. I'm in like his top 2% of viewers. I love his coverage of Formula One stuff. Petapixels, another great channel I watch a lot. So here, I'll turn this down because it's just loud background noise. Yeah, many different sides of me. Smart home devices, Apple products, and CES tech shows. Who would have thought? Luxury travel, train journeys, and airline reviews. Yes, I am a sucker for a good airline business class review because I used to work in kind of the business behind that stuff. Home improvement, product reviews, DIY projects. Yeah. I'm travel minded, resourceful, and tech savvy. Okay. Yeah, so I'm a skill builder. So fun to hear what your personality types are. Yep. Channels I watched. Oh, look at these. Yeah, at the beginning of the year. That makes sense. Yep. Different business strategy people. Okay, yep. There's I don't know why Wendover is F1. That's like kind of documentaries about a bunch of stuff. Wendover Productions is a really good channel, by the way. Same as Kim Illman. Yes. All right. Most likely to upgrade my travel kit. Okay, I guess so. So that's my recap, and enjoy yours too, whenever it comes your way. And let's see. Okay. Okay. Catching up with all you guys in the chat as I was watching my recap. Okay, cool. And no ads here, Will. That's good. Yes, you should have received it on Sunday. Hopefully. So this past Sunday, I did send out my newsletter. If you go to ericw.org/newsletter, this is all operational now. You can go subscribe if you aren't already. This was last week talking about another thing, actually, we never really got to on the stream because we didn't have a stream last week because it was the holiday week here with Thanksgiving in the U.S. But Avia has their Aliro, oh my goodness, there's a bad typo, Aliro lock. And then, the Aqara M200, also the Hisense PT1, I've been playing with that. It's a very cool projector, was still on sale when I sent this, so I wanted to call that out. But yeah, Avia has their new Aliro ultra wideband lock, not available for purchase yet, but they've announced it's a product. They say coming later this year, which seems, they did that on like kind of, we could have talked about it on the previous live stream. I just don't think it was on my radar at the time, but yeah, that's something to keep in mind as well. My Sunday Scene newsletter. Now, let's see, and sending it was so much faster and easier with Ghost. I'm really glad that I'm back on Ghost and using that as my CMS, my website platform, whatever. So the last thing I did want to mention too is, speaking of the Aliro lock, the HomeKit Insider podcast had a really good interview with the Chief Technical Officer at Philips Hue. So this is, they do have a YouTube channel for this. Let's see. Yes, in-depth talk with. So if I put this on the screen. So this was a great interview with the Chief Technical Officer, George Yanni from Philips Hue, Signify. And he had some just great background on Philips Hue and all kinds of different things that kind of backstory on them getting started and then going through some of the details. So just a good episode to go check out of that podcast. I'll leave a link to this in the chat. All right. So, okay. Sorry, Lone Star Trent. Yeah, I did turn on ads. I'm hoping it's not too invasive. Okay. But yeah. Wow, lots of content in there. But that's that podcast episode I mentioned, and it was a really good interview. I do recommend you check it out if you're into Philips Hue. Some cool stuff they're doing, and some stuff I want to talk more about on my channel at some point soon. Huh. 20 was the last one you received. All right. I would say check your spam filter, Carl, because it might be going to your spam inbox or spam mailbox. But with that, great to chat. Great to have another live stream, another week. We're here, new setup. Excited about the amount of videos this new setup will be able to bring. Thanks so much. Oh, Edgar's Home Tech. Thanks for joining. But goodbye. We're done for the night. Sorry. Thank you guys. Have a good one. Bye.